2, 1. All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Driven by Intelligence. My name is Durran Cage, founder and owner of Cage Automotive. And today's guest, this might be the last guest for 2025. Because this is coming after an announcement that I said I'm probably not going to do as much coaching and training, especially not in store in 2026. But the gentleman that I'm bringing on today, I've been begging this year to get on the show, but also doing some BDC masterclasses with. So I'm still going to keep pushing for that too, because I know our BDC leaders would love that. But I'm going to get into an introduction first, and I'm going to give the real talk behind who this gentleman is to me. So today, we've got a true titan in the game joining us, Mr. Shawn Armorer. Now, here's a man who started his career washing cars. He'll have to correct me if this is wrong, but I love this. Showed up to that first interview in a suit and tie. I left mine out in the office today and never looked back. From those humble beginnings, he climbed the ladder with grit and curiosity, building up some of the most impactful BDC across the North, Canada's largest dealer group, and even writing a 287-page CRM playbook along the way. My goodness. But what makes Shawn special isn't about the results, it's his philosophy. And I could agree with this, managing the data, but coaching to the people. He embodies servant leadership rooted in emotional intelligence and growth. So buckle up. We're diving into the evolution of the BDC. And one correction I want to make, yes, he has Canada, but my man is all global now. He's got North America. He's got the whole world. And so, but the personal part outside of the greeting that I want to bring up, that's a little bit more personal, is how I connected to Shawn. Was a few years back, and this is a mix of 2020 time. And Shawn, was it Clubhouse or LinkedIn?
It was definitely LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay, so him and I connect through LinkedIn. We're talking, and one night, me and this gentleman, we talk. I'm talking about for hours, and I'm talking about a call
like I think it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it involved tears. It involved me opening up. It involved him opening up. It involved my wife being like, "What in the world? Who are you talking to up there?" And so that I want to say that because I really do and truly love this man. He's a great guy, a great brother, none other than Shawn Armorer. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you for being here.
Indeed, that was a huge intro, man. Jesus,
you deserved it. You've earned it. It's
been over 2 decades, man. And blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, literally.
Yeah. So tell the audience, because the people that definitely see the Cage community, people will see this because I put it in our course. But then obviously it's going to be all over LinkedIn, YouTube, social media. But for those people that have maybe they've been living under a rock a little bit and don't know who you are, especially those in the BDC side, sales and service, can you give them a little bit of background of who you are and catch them up to speed to who you are today?
Sure. Thanks so much. So Shawn Armorer, I live here in Montreal, Canada. As you said, I'm the owner and founder of BDC Alchemy Inc. Started off in 2002, like you said, washing cars, and that's the real story. I graduated in fashion marketing way back when. Couldn't find work in my field. Young, arrogant, 20-year-old trying to conquer the world. And when you come out of university, they tell you aim for the stars and go and get it, and that's exactly what I was doing. But there were no stars. So it quickly dawned on me at the time. I had bills to pay. I lived in an apartment. I lived on my own. So I'm like, man, I need to work. My little brother at the time was working for the largest Toyota store in our area over here. And I said, hey, Matt, listen, I'll take anything. I don't come from opulence. I don't come from silver spoon background by any stretch. Essentially, my mom had to decide, do I pay the lights or do I put food in the fridge for my 3 kids? So that gives you a little bit of an idea, if I could connect with people out there, that this was earned. So I got a job washing cars. He said, listen, they only have, positions for car washers. And I said, I don't care. It's not who I am. It's my circumstance.
Yeah.
However, I am going to be the best damn washer they have ever seen. And a lot of people to this day, when I tell that story, they chuckle. They're like, how can you be the best washer? I'll show you. It's a true story. I still talk to Eric. That's his name, the service manager. I still see him today. He's so happy about, where I've come to. But I was sitting in front of him in a suit and tie. And he's like, you realize this is to wash cars, correct? I was like, yeah, absolutely. 100%. But in order to be successful, one must portray an image of success. And I said, yeah, the washing cars is what I'm applying for,
Yeah.
but that's the opportunity. That's the door in. But once I'm in, that's where I'm going to do my damage. And the rest is history. So I started first 11 years. I started off in the car industry way back when in the service department because internet sales didn't exist yet. We weren't on the internet selling cars. So everything, I went from washer to porter to I did pretty much everything, including service manager, service advisor. I sold some used cars. First 11 years, I was there for about 11 years. But maybe 6 years in, because we're a little bit behind here in Canada anyway, with regards to technology and stuff. So 6 years in, I will always remember this. The owner came back. I gave my 2 week notice because after 6 years, I'm like, okay, this has been fun, but I want to get into my field. And he's like, wait. He goes, we just came back from the NADA. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Back in the day. And he goes, we just brought back this concept that they're doing over there. It's called BDC or something like that. So they're like, look, you've been here for 6 years. You've been promoted so many times. You're part of the fabric. Listen, across the street, we have a call center. There's 3 people in there. I'm like, you do? Like, I've been here 6 years. I didn't know there was, I was just doing appointments, right? So they're like, look, there's 3 people on the other side of the street. Take it, stay another 3-4 months. You're leaving anyway. You've been with us 6 years. What's another 3-4 months? So just look up on BDC, do some research, see what it is, figure it out. And at the end of 4 months, if you're still not happy or if you still want to go. Within 3 months, man, this thing just became, let's go. This is what we're doing. So I literally built on my side systems and methodologies because there is no book. So you kind of just fail my way to success. And then today I am proud and humbled to say that I get to build BDCs all over the world. Literally, I was in as far as Poland, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm all over the States, obviously all over Canada. Now I'm doing conferences. I'm speaking. This has just been a crazy journey, but being humble is the key to it. I stay in my lane.
Yeah, man.
So it's been quite the experience. It's given me so much. It's also taken away a lot. But I've got to evolve in this industry. Like I said, it's been a little over 2 decades now. And I build BDCs from the ground up. I really, really specialize in in-house BDCs, service or sales. I could do both. And coaching is what I really love to do, like building that nucleus, that BDC manager, that BDC agent, really just connecting with them on a cellular level to let them know that this is not it. Like that rabbit hole gets so much deeper, and they're like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, I'm from Montreal. And not just that, but I built my company during COVID out of all times.
Yeah.
I had built 6 BDCs for some of Canada's largest dealer groups. During COVID, we all get furloughed. For whatever reason, it got real confusing, but they didn't call me back. And instead of play a victim, which I'm not, I sat down. I'm like, I'll show you guys. And then I built what's known as BDC Alchemy today. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Man, that was, that thing. Now, listen to you tell your background and your history. It made me realize it sounds crazy, what attracted me to you so much, but in a guy way. But what connected me to Shawn was that one thing that him and I really align on is that coaching the BDC leaders. There's something to it. When I'm talking about, one thing that probably him and I both have in common is we both have probably had those coaching BDC calls that might have went like 90 minutes to 2 hours long because we had to pull somebody from the bottom, like somebody that was down in the gutter and almost thinking that their job was done or that they felt like this is overwhelming because they're trying to deal with their general manager. They're trying to deal with the owner. They're trying to deal with the marketing department. They're trying to deal with the chaos of a turnover BDC team. And then you got people like Shawn and myself that will talk to that person at the beginning of the call. It's chaotic. And then by the end of it, it's love. And I think that's that thing. There's not that many people out there left that like care about humans to that degree, and I know that I share that with you, and so I appreciate you sharing that because people need to know that.
Sorry, but it's one of the most interesting things. I think for me personally, I love like EQ, and when I say emotional intelligence, I don't just use that as a phrase. Like I literally, I have over 200 books to my left over here, and I can tell you right now, 20 of them are specific under EQ. So it's not just, a saying to me. Like, I've studied it, I learned it, and now the idea is, how do you bridge the gap between emotional intelligence and daily performance structure, right? How do you bridge the gap? And that's where I came up with that, that line: manage the data, but coach the people. It's two separate worlds, right? So obviously the higher ups love the data, but then you have to coach the people, and the coach people push the data, right? So there's got to be a healthy balance between the two. And I'll never forget it, actually, now that you mentioned it. When at the beginning, I literally built my business on LinkedIn. Literally. I sat down and, I literally remortgaged my house. And I'm like, all right, I got 7 months. In 7 months, if I don't have one customer, like, I'm done, literally. And I said, well, I'm not, this big influencer guy. Like, even it takes me half an hour to do an Instagram post. I don't care, but put me in a room full of people, I'm going to captivate them within seconds.
That's right.
Right? Because it comes from the heart. So I just remember not knowing what the hell I'm going to do. So I said, what do I have? I looked at LinkedIn. And at the time, obviously, I'm not taking anything away from you because it's kind of like a very full space right now. We should get into that later on. But at the time, you just kept popping up everywhere. Durran Cage, Durran Cage. I'm like, look at this guy. This is the guru right here. This is the pioneer right here. And you inspired me. I just took in your all of your content every day. I was on LinkedIn, just who's out there, what are they doing, how are they doing it, how far off am I? And not with regards to comparison, because I forget who said it, but comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, like, would I be able to even make an impact compared to who's out there? And then I stumbled across you, Durran Cage. And I think at the time I had like 56 connections. I hadn't used LinkedIn really for anything. And you were already, your rocket ship had taken off already. And I'm like, yo, that's the dude. So I think I wrote you, and we had Eric Thomas in common.
Yeah,
I think really that's what happened. I think I quoted Eric Thomas in my first message. You answered me immediately. I think we were on the phone that same day. I had supper going. My son at the time, he was young. I think he was like 7, 8. He's there waiting, but I'm talking to Durran Cage. I'm like, yo, I'm talking to DC, man. Like, this is crazy. And we spoke forever. And then that's where the relationship was born. You had a huge, I should say it out here in front of people. You played a pivotal role in my success. And I just want to thank you for that. You were a great inspiration. You still are. But at the beginning, like, you were that voice, that whisper that I followed. And I always hoped to accomplish that. And today, like you said, when I look at my Google reviews, like, some of the stuff that I read, it's just like, to even think that you can have influence or inspiration on people like that, it's just like, it's incredible. It's truly humbling.
Yeah, no, it really is, because and thank you for those words. And then we're gonna get into it. People like, dang, man, are we gonna get into the meat? And we are, but all this is connected to where we're going with this. So hang tight. But no, and thank you for saying that. But it's really, what's really cool is seeing, like, what I love is that now I've turned into your biggest fan on stage. Like, when this guy, anybody that's listening to this, if you've seen him on stage, you know it, because I got to actually watch it live. But that's what excites me the most, is not just seeing how much you've grown, but how you literally dominate a stage and you bring this energy that people can feel and touch. And so I think I see in your future you filling stadiums up with hundreds of thousands of people. Like, I know it, because it's calling you. It's just that path that we take to get there. But what's even better, to your point, like the Google reviews, is think about how many people that you're coaching and touching that are going to be saying the same thing to you in a few years. Like that BDC manager who decides to coach, or somebody who's just now, like, somebody's watching you and I speak that's thinking about consulting, coaching, or starting their business idea. And they're thinking, man, there's no way I have a shot. I mean, look at Shawn. And then you're going to watch this conversation like, oh my gosh, everybody starts at that place. Everybody starts at that place of 50-something connections, but you just have to you said it best, don't focus on comparing, focus on learning. right? It's
Correct.
like, don't
Yeah.
compare yourself to anybody, but focus on what can I
Don't
learn.
compare. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter
Yeah.
6. I wasn't infatuated with you. I looked up to you, and there's other people. I don't know if you want me to name names, but there are a lot of BDC pioneers
Yeah.
out there that I was like, oh, it's her, and you know what I'm talking about. She's phenomenal, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, it's her. Oh my god, there's Durran, and then there's this one. And I was like, at the time, I was like, oh my god, the BDC genius, and then there's the BDC this, and then so I was like, okay, I need to carve my own path though.
Yeah. And here
And
we are.
and here we are. And BDC Alchemy was birthed from, I read a lot, and I was reading the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I'll never ever forget. I just resonated with the story. I resonate with the character,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, that's it. I swear to you, this is a true story. I said, that's it. I'm the alchemist.
Yeah.
Like the very act of alchemy is taking something regular and making it special.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think today that that's what I do in the body of work that I do.
Yeah, man. Well, let's so I want to give people just a little preview. So as I lead into this question, right before Shawn and I hit record, Shawn jumps on and we're talking, and he said, "Have we recorded yet?" And I said, "No, not yet." And I said, "How are things going?" He said, "It's just things are interesting now with AI and today, and like what does this look like 2 years from now?" And I said, "That's exactly what we're going to address in one of our questions, because I know there's thousands of BDC leaders, thousands of general managers. I just talked to one today that are all asking this question: what is AI going to do for my business, and what's it going to do to my people? Are we about to be replaced, or what are we doing? And I said, oh, no. I said, we're going to have an excellent time breaking this down. So I want to give context as we're recording this. So if you're watching this in the future, not sure when, but we're recording this in September, early September 2025. So just to give background, AI over the last 3 years has just taken off. It first started off as a cool thing that you had to use to help maybe with content, to where now you're talking about agents and assistants. So it's buzzing all over the automotive industry, and every dealer's hearing the word. If you don't have it, you don't lose. But if another dealer has it, you will lose. We've all heard that. So, but I want to start off our first question before we kind of dive into the AI part with BDC is, let's talk about the current state of the BDC department, specifically being that BDC manager. Give us your feedback, because you're coaching teams all over the globe, as you're saying. So give us, the state of the BDC in terms of what are you seeing out of BDCs that are winning, and then what are you seeing out of the BDCs that are being challenged? And I would say I would start with the challenging one first. The BDCs that are probably first experiencing some challenges right now. So that BDC manager that's watching this, leaning in because she's struggling in the common areas that you're seeing, and then show or give an example of how you're seeing BDC leaders and BDC teams winning.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't necessarily look at it that way, but I'll just say it in my way. But it kind of results. I don't think that anybody's winning, and I don't think that anybody's losing. I think that we're just stuck in this pattern, right? It's cyclical. It's always been cyclical. The number one problem in why BDC was invented was why. Because no one was responding to leads, and even the leads that were coming in, it was like a one and done, as they say, right? So I think the lines got blurred when the advent of BDC was created, and then it became all things to all people.
Yeah.
It didn't have an identity. Like, are we salespeople? Do we do it from snout to tail? Do we give pricing on the phone? Do we not give pricing on the phone? At the beginning, everything was about volume, calls. So, but I think the structure from the beginning was wrong. And what I mean by that, the concept I understood, right? The concept I understood. But when I say it was wrong, it's like, so you're telling me that we're going to take 4 human beings, let's just say 4 or 3, it could be whatever. You're going to take 4 human beings, we're going to sandwich them in an office that used to be for one person. We're going to put up partitions, And we're going to request that they do over 100 calls a day times 5 times a month times a year. And you think that these people are not going to break down at some point? While the salespeople are doing the crosswords or smoking cigarettes or Sudoku or whatever it is that they're doing. So that's where the lines got blurred. And that's kind of like where the sea parted. That's where the BDC kind of got siloed or segmented, if you will.
Yep.
There was a division in, call it what you want, outsourced, in-house, outsourced, hybrid. There was a division between the sales department and the BDC.
Yep.
And that division over time grew and grew and grew and grew. And with every, percentage of growth, with every angle of growth, if you will, communication broke down.
Yeah.
And when communication broke down, long time ago, we're going to do this real quick. When communication broke down, we turned to technology instead of turning to coaching these people.
Yep.
So we turned to technology. Okay, well, if my sales department won't work with the BDC and the BDC won't work with the sales department, what piece of technology can I put in between them that's just going to solve all of this? What kind of texting app? And then it was like this gold rush after the CRMs. It was this gold rush of, ICOs, and then there was these texting apps that came out, and then there was the CRMs. This one is better than that one, and this one does this, but this one doesn't do that. But this one, you can't upload a CSV file. But then this one, the ADF XML format, well, we don't do that, but we do this. So now we were almost stuck to choose. Okay, well, which one is better? There was no one size fits all, right? So then now what happens is the pressure starts to come. Yep. So what do we always do? And again, I don't want to be cynical, but our industry is a volatile industry. It's one of the only industries that's governed from a month-to-month basis, if you really think about it, truly.
Oh, yeah.
All these Fortune 500 companies, they're all split up in what? Quarters. Q1, Q2, Q3. So even if we're not doing too good in January, well, hey, guess what? We have the rest of Q1 to catch back up. Us, it's like, I used to hate it. Because I used to sell used cars. I used to hate it when the month would end on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because then on Thursday, whatever you did yesterday doesn't matter. We started all over again. It's like, oh my God, here we go again, right? So I think that separation of communication is really kind of what led us down this dangerous path that we now call, AI, where I believe that everybody thinks AI is gonna solve our problems. Yeah, so I think the advent of AI, to your point, I fundamentally don't believe that it's going to replace anybody. I really don't believe that because, the biggest element that we have to anybody watching this right now that thinks that we're going to just don't listen to the noise. Right. Yeah. There's obviously a place for AI. Could it enhance us? Sure. Is it going to make things faster? Fine. Can it do the mundane tasks? Sure. But I think fundamentally that it's a people business. It will remain a people business, and it's people serving people at the end of the day. And is there a place for AI? Of course there is. But actually, this is interesting. I was literally just coaching a new hire right before coming on board. And I was talking to her about it. She's awesome. She's out there in Illinois, Moline, Illinois, John Deere country. Been there a couple of times. No cell phones, but anyway, no cell phone reception, but a cool place. I love it. And I was out there, and so I was basically explaining to her like the whole AI thing. As long as you stay in front of it, you will be fine. People need to understand that there's an accountability aspect to this as well, right? So I told her and I asked her, what do you have that a machine doesn't? Emotion. And it's that emotion that really connects with people. A machine will never understand emotion. You can't program emotion, at least not now anyway. We don't even know what real emotion is when we start talking about the neocortex and the amygdala, and then we won't get into all that stuff. But we don't even understand the whole way that the brain works, let alone being able to program this, right? So I said, as long as you stay in front of it, it's not going to be a weakness. Yeah. There's nothing to be fearful of. And I specifically said, AI is not going to replace people, or AI, let's keep it BDC. AI is not going to replace BDC agents. What AI will replace is shitty BDC agents.
That's right.
So as long as you don't fit that description, you're good to go. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But again, we never know where this thing is going. It's kind of crazy. It's
Yeah.
cool, but it's scary too, though. But you never know.
No,
So just do the best you can.
no, you nailed it, and you said it so well because it is a pattern, right? So so Sean kind of
Cyclical.
gave a glimpse of what my response was to it when he brought up. He said, "What about this AI stuff that's coming around? This is crazy." And I said, all it is, just like he said it better than I did. I said, it's all going to come back to what you and I are doing right now, Sean. I said, because here's what's going to happen. I said, the top 20%. So you 20%ers, if you're a BDC leader and you're a 20%er, AI is really not going to affect you much because you're going to win regardless. 20%ers are going to win. They just find a way, whether you use AI as a tool or you don't, you're going to win. I said it's the 80%ers, the average, is who this is going to help, but it's also going to expose, right? But when every dealership has this solution to help the 80%, we're right back to what Sean said now. It's a pattern where you still have to learn how to connect with people. I just listened to a stat recently. They were talking about people that are under the age of 19 years old right now. And they said, this is a crazy stat, they said over 50% of women are not being asked out on a date now, like by teenagers in the young adult community, because they're so used to communicating with text. Like they're not used to actually having a conversation with somebody and engaging and going back and forth. And so as the gap of learning how to communicate with people gets wider and wider, you are still going to have to learn how to communicate, because if people really think about what AI is here to do, I kind of wrote it down as I was listening to Sean because he's giving me so many ideas, but really AI was here to assist in the gaps where humans just cannot get to. That's really what it was for. It's kind of like math. A calculator was made for the math that a human just really doesn't have time to get to. What's 1,838,000 divided by 91? Let me hold on. Boom. And so
Yeah.
the really what the AI should be for a BDC leader should be, what is my team's how many of my team's customers have bought after 31 days? And what's the conversion rate by source? That would take, you would have to go into the CRM and build, but an AI that's plugged in to get the data gives it to you like that. That's the way that it should be here to help our teams develop. It should be here
Yeah.
to help us get the information that I'm sure Sean knows, and so many of you BDC managers listening to this are spending hours in reporting every single day, guaranteed. Weekly, you're digging it. General managers, you too. That's where I see the AI assisting people, is with efficiency and knowing how
Yeah.
to coach your people, because at the end of the day, all the AI is going to do is help create more engagement. So really, you need to learn how to communicate and engage that much better, because now
Yes.
these AI assistants that are coming out, their voices are great. Their text, their emotional intelligence that Sean's talking about is phenomenal. But if an AI that you have trained has better emotional intelligence than your team, you're going to have a problem, because
Correct.
that customer is going to be like, wait a second, Samantha, the person that I've been talking to for the last 3 months, was responsive and everything was going. But now here I am talking to you in store, and you're saying you've never heard of me and you know nothing about the history. Where's the communication? And this goes back to that
Yeah.
pattern, Sean, you
Yeah.
talked about, is you can bring in AI, but if you don't have tight communication with your AI and your customer, you're going to lose, and it's going to be really bad. Well, it's the same thing with the BDC. If you have very poor communication with your BDC team, you're not going to get the results that you want. So communication is going to stay consistent. But I want to add one more C before I go into the next question for Sean, is the big the thing that nobody wants to talk about. I was going to pull out $100 bill, but it's the money. That's, to me, that's been, man, I'm probably going to get slapped for this one, but oh well, I'm going out there, Sean. The real truth and part of the failure of the BDC is compensation, because the way that most BDC teams get comped does not align with the customer journey, and it does not align with the dealership's goals. It aligns with
Correct.
that person's goals. So your BDC team is getting paid by sets, shows, right? But then you've got a website that's telling customers to stay home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got a hybrid. So to your point, Shawn, like to me, the best solution is not being in silos, is working with the hybrid. That's where I really work well, is when a sales manager, the sales team, and the BDC team all work together, right? Well, that's a messy thing for comp, because if I'm the BDC person, I'm calling, I've made 8 phone calls, I'm grinding, and I'm talking to Leanne. Let's say the customer's name is Leanne. I'm talking to Leanne, and she's in Wisconsin. Our dealership's in New Mexico, and so everything's going well. Well, now Leanne says, hey, I'm ready to move forward. I saw the video from your salesperson. Hey, I would like to go ahead and move forward. Now I get with Shawn. Shawn's my salesperson. Hey, Shawn, Leanne in Wisconsin's ready to go. Go ahead and tee that up. She's ready to do her paperwork. How does the team get compensated? Because now I've got some stores that even if it's a delivery, they don't get the set appointment money. They don't get the show money because it was a delivery. Well, so then now that's a disincentive for a BDC rep to focus on an out-of-state shopper, because they're going to lose half their commission because that customer doesn't show up. Right? Or you have sales reps that are being compensated for setting an appointment, and now they're fighting with the BDC team saying, no, that's my appointment, not your appointment.
Yeah.
I've got comp, y'all. Like I said, I'm going to get in trouble for this one, because I'm going to get some messages and be like, Durran, what should we do about it? You have to align with the dealership's goals. You have to align with your culture. So I wanted to bring up that other C, because that comp, if you haven't dealt with the compensation in updating how you comp your team in a hybrid model, how do you think it's going to work when you use AI? It's going to be the same issue when you have AI in place, and now you're trying to deal with comp, where you're paying these machines to do a lot of the work, right? Quote unquote. But then you've got humans doing work as well. How does that comp going to work? So people really have to lean into the questions that are not being asked right now, and look into the pattern, as what Shawn said, because you're going to come right back to these communications, these compensations. It's going to keep going round and round. And it's where the BDC leaders, that's where I see them going the craziest, is because they're like, where do I sit in all this? You know, what should I be looking at? Should I be looking at becoming a salesperson or a sales manager? Or is my role going to be okay? And that was going to be the next question I had, is that BDC leader that's listening to this, Shawn, like, what should they be doing right now? Like when you're coaching them, and you kind of touched on it on the last one, but specific areas, maybe like 1 or 2 things that a BDC manager can do to make sure that they're protecting their future and their team's future as well.
Wow. Well, I got 4 things for you in bullet points. But before I do that, but before that, I do that,
y'all. I can already see by the time.
but before I do that, I need to lead, because again, but before I do that, I need to lead with psychology, because what we do is psychology, and everything is, everything comes down to psychology. So first things first, what they need to understand, and these are not the 4 bullet points, I'll let you know, but
okay,
I'll give you maybe 2 structures that they should follow, and they should be writing this down. When you prohibit failure, you kill innovation.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say that again. When you prohibit failure, you kill innovation. So as you were saying, when you're trying to align the BDC with the sales, or the BDC with the service, don't get anchored just to one way of doing something. Be flexible with it. Early on in my career, I was like, no, this is the way we do it. Trust me, I know everything, et cetera, et cetera. It's, I had the hubris to think that. So it was that release of power, when I really started to just really connect and dial in and align the BDC initiatives with the departments that they serve, that's where things started changing. The BDC manager has to understand something. The BDC will be, has been, and will always be an incubator of data. It's the hub of the organization. Every lead comes into it. Every phone call typically comes through it. It's just this incubator of massive amounts of data that we were talking to before. The reports have reports.
Yeah.
So I would use AI at that level. There's phases of construction. The first phase of construction that I would do as to adopt AI would be from a reporting aspect.
Yep.
Let's not adopt AI to go faster. We're already not doing good with what we currently have, and now we want more of it? Just because you pour syrup on shit, don't make it pancakes.
Oh.
So why do we need to go faster? It's like the other day,
Yeah.
I have this otter thing that takes notes, and I'm a very pen and paper kind of guy. I love taking my notes, bullet points. I find myself. So I'm doing like 3-4 meetings a day times 5 days. Let's just call it 20 meetings a week. What do I have at the end of the week?
More
massive amounts of data all of a sudden that I didn't have before. I'm like, what do I do with all of this? Like, how do I even get organized, right? So I think adopting AI from a how can I say this? A reporting aspect, because the growth that we seek currently resides in the opportunities being mismanaged.
Yeah.
And how do you know what's being mismanaged? You need to have your targets. Like you said before, is it, you're booking your show, you're sold. What is the number that we're trying to reach, and how fast can we get that reporting done so that we can analyze it and then adopt some coaching, right? So what I would definitely tell BDC managers is, first of all, managers do things right. Leaders do the right things. That's number one. Okay. And that's not me. That's Simon Sinek, but that's number one. Cool. I think the biggest mistake that happened along the way is that when we always in this business, and it's okay, I'm not being cynical, I love it. When we solve problems at the results level, it's momentary. You could have a good month, a bad month, good month, bad month, bad month. We're always so fixated on the results because, as I was saying earlier, we're governed from a month-to-month business. I understand there's a lot riding on it. There's manufacturer incentives, there's targets, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. But to truly make a consistent impact, we need to solve the problems at the systems level.
Yeah.
And that's where I would put in AI. I wouldn't be looking at AI to replace people. I would look at AI as to how can it enhance the BDC leader.
Yep.
So now the BDC leader needs to sit down with the general manager or the decision maker and say, hey, listen, let's have an AI discussion. First things first, sit down together and ask the question. Go to your GM, go to the decision maker and say, what do you understand about AI? What do you think about AI? Where would you use AI, et cetera, et cetera? Then they can ask me the same question. And now we've started the discussion, because I can guarantee you something right now to all the BDC people looking right now. If you don't have that discussion with your general manager, I can assure you that those AI companies that never sat down a day in your seat are having that discussion. And you're not going to be happy once the GM comes into your office and says, hey, I just signed a 2-year contract with this company and this is what they do. And you're like, no one told me. Like, they don't know our process. They don't know our systems. And then they just hijack the entire thing. So first things first that I would recommend, begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
Begin with the end in mind. What are we trying to achieve? What is the BDC manager trying to achieve? Whatever it is. Is it, more booking, more shows, more solds, more engagement, more connections? Or as you said before, where is, what's my number one lead source? Where is the revenue really coming in from?
Yeah.
So begin with the end in mind. Once you begin with the end in mind, ask yourself, what do I need to know? What do I need to know? What's my number one source? What's my engagement? What's my engagement per source? What's my engagement, from this leads, or what's my organic traffic? What's my attribution, et cetera, et cetera? What do I need to know? That's the first question I would ask. After that, I would say, what do I have to do? Or what behavior do I need to develop in order to know this kind of stuff. Do I need to stay an hour later? Do I need to come in on Saturday? Do I need to set up daily meetings with the GM and have this discussion and move forward? What is it precisely that you have to do to be a part of the conversation? Because I can guarantee you right now, you won't just be invited to it, right? Or you're going to be invited to it when it's too late. But if you want skin in the game, get in the game.
Yeah.
And then one of the last things I would say is that, when I said, what is it do you have to do? Well, what do I need to learn?
Yeah.
Stop running away from AI. Run towards it. We're fire people. You were saying before how, what you really love about what I do, and there's a reciprocity to that, is that I love coaching. I just love coaching. And I fundamentally believe that the highest honor that we can have is the care of other human beings.
Yes.
How many countless, and I hate that I'm even saying this, but I wouldn't have a career if I didn't. So,
yeah.
But
man.
Do you know how many times, listen, I don't know about you, Durran, but in my methodology, and your work speaks for itself, but I don't get called when there's a problem. I get called when the building is on fire.
That's
the BDC has been broken for 2 years. They have a 40% churn. Everybody's arguing and fighting. The processes are all over the place. They're under second BDC manager in 2 years. And then they're like, well, how fast can you fix it? Whoa, how long is a piece of string? What are we dealing with here, right? So, but I have grown accustomed to operating in chaos.
Yeah.
And you have to like it. You have to like fixing, and you have to improve your communication. You have to improve your knowledge. And more than that, my mentor used to teach me, the guy that started this, shout out to Eric Antil. I mean, I owe this guy everything. He had this thing way back in the day when I took some of his courses, and it was called Walk a Mile in My Shoe.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that sales manager is upset. Okay, fine. Maybe they could find a different way, to deliver their information. But at the precipice of their argument, there's something that we're doing at the BDC that's affecting him and his team. Think about it. To any BDC person looking at this right now, how do you feel when a sales manager comes in and starts, talking smack about one of your BDC agents? You get defensive, you get protective right away. Of course you do. Yeah. Well, that's how they feel when you go up to them and, hey, Durran's not putting in his notes. And how come Durran this? Yep. And how come Durran that? You're going to get that same friction. So in order for us to have the conversation that needs to happen, first of all, let's start having the conversation. But most importantly, only people with skin in the game should be at that table speaking. How many times have you assisted a dealership's meeting and there's a bunch of people that have no business being there, but they have an opinion? They're just disrupting the flow of things. We live in an independent society, whereas mankind's greatest achievement has always required interdependence.
Yeah.
Well, then nothing's wrong right now. This AI is nothing different than when they invented the airplane. It's nothing different than, when any kind of invention. This is new and it's scary. I get it, but it's happening. It's happening. So why go against the grain? So don't raise your voice, raise your argument.
Oh, that's good. You said something I just wrote down and circled, though. I think that's really going to show how BDCs do evolve, whether they use tech or not. I feel most probably will, because it will be forced on some, is that 90-day, you touched on it so well about the quarterly thing, because time is everything. Because what I've noticed in studying AI, especially this year, is we treat AI even worse than how we treat people, meaning when the AIs, for most stores, when they put it in, they're expecting results like yesterday. When they don't realize the best AIs out there are going to take about a quarter for everybody to adjust. It's going to take a while because you got a BDC team that has to adjust to it. You got a sales team that has to adjust to it. You got a BDC leader, a sales. So it takes time, right? But it goes back to what you're saying. I see stores that hire people and they'll have them on the call, they'll have them on the phones within 2 or 3 days. Like, and I'm like, okay, have they already done this before? No, but they were ready. And then they're having success. But one thing I've learned and I've seen, and you might have seen this as well, Shawn, sometimes early success is the worst success because it can happen so fast within first 7 days of it going well, but it actually was another situation that created that. It was that kind of customer. It was that time of the month. It was
Correct.
that marketing. And then
Correct.
they can't rebound from it after that 7 day period. And they never
Correct.
see those results because the grounding was never set up the right way. So the success that they had, the short-term success, was actually just kind of luck. It'd be like somebody trying to lose weight, right? If they did something differently for a very short term that they're not going to do for a long
The
term,
body's going to react right
they
away, of course.
lost it. They fasted, right?
Boom.
You fasted, and then after 3 days of fasting, you went back to starting your day with donuts. So you had this success, but you didn't realize it came from the fasting. You just didn't have the money to buy donuts for 3 days. You got your money, you started buying donuts, and now you're not seeing the results of your
Yes.
body. It's the
Yes.
same thing that we're talking about here. Everything works together. So I love how you broke that down because I know that was before, but it's going to be those points that you just listed, but also it's going to be that implementation. And you said it so well. I hope leaders are listening to this. If you are having conversations with AI companies, I would pause right now and start having conversations with your BDC leader.
Listen,
And if
man, and you just nailed it. I'm sorry to cut you off, but man, this is
no, go
so
ahead.
near and dear. Let's stay here for whatever time we have left.
Yeah.
I cannot support you and agree with you more. Stop immediately having conversations with them. First of all, let's talk about it real quick, and it's my opinion. And please comment, hit me up on LinkedIn. Let's go. Let's have the conversation. I'm ready for you. Let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
I had this conversation. I get 2 companies a week asking me to collaborate with them. Hey, Shawn, we love what you're doing. Can you put your IP into my AI? So, hey, let me see what you're doing. AI right now, today, a couple of things. AI right now, where is it sourcing its information from?
The people, baby.
No, it's sourcing its
Google.
information from OpenAI and Google.
Yeah.
So the internet. Well, there's a big problem with the internet. And you know what it's called? It's called misinformation.
Yeah.
So are you telling me right now we're just handing our clients over to some machine that's responding with misinformation?
Yep.
So, and I'm going to go a step before that. We're already fooling our clients again. Why do we keep doing this? Why are we giving the AI a name?
As I said,
Who are you fooling? Hey, this is Tom. I saw that you looked into this. And then all of a sudden, we don't know we're talking to a machine until we do. Then what? Friction, gone. Trust, eroded. So, did we even ask our customers if they want to talk to AI machine? Like, can we not just start there before we think it's a good thing? Why? We think it's a good thing. Why? Because we want to go faster, 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 faster. Where are we going so quickly? So stop having that conversation. And I would, oh my God, I forgot what his name is. Tom, he did an amazing LinkedIn post yesterday. I think he put like, if I remember his name, I'm going to say it. 5 or 6 questions that people need to be asking. You need to sit down, like I was saying before, when you're having that conversation with your general manager, start talking about it. What do we need this thing to do? The first thing you have to do, and this is why I fundamentally believe that now more than ever, every single BDC leader or manager, I don't care if you're 10 years in, if you're 15 years in, every single one needs a coach. They need a coach. Because I talk BDC, you talk BDC, they talk BDC. When we go into a room and we start talking BDC, no one listens to us because they just don't know what the hell we're saying.
Yeah.
So the first thing that you need to do before, when I said begin with the end in mind, have a defined, documented process flow of some kind. What does your lead flow look like? That's the first thing that I establish with my partners and my clients. What is the customer journey flow?
Yep.
It's separate from a lead flow. What happens when the phone rings? Where does it go? How long does it take? What do you want to happen? It's two separate events happening. So failure to have a documented process flow, a documented journey flow, well, then when that AI company comes in, they're just going to do it. I'm not being cynical. They're just going to do what they do. Here are the best practices. Okay, well, hold on. How long did you work in a dealership? Well, we never had, but no. How about this? We like your product. We like what you saw, so I'm going to give them credit, but I need you to program this. I need the AI to work this way.
Yeah.
Similar to us, we all get into a car and we all put on what now? Waze, GPS. Even if we know where we're going, that thing is just always on. Why? Because if something pops up out of the blue that wasn't there yesterday, it'll signal us. Well, how else is the AI going to signal us if we don't have a documented process flow of some kind? You need a GPS, right? And if you don't know how to do that, there's people like Durran and there's people like myself that actually are expert in this. I never necessarily said I walk on water and I know everything. But I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And then when it comes to the BDC, I am telling you right now, you need to be obsessed with people, process, and technology and how everything works together. And within that obsession, you have to be very careful that you don't get anchored. And the only reason why I am not better than you, Durran, I am not better than other BDC, trainers and stuff. I just have my flow and my way of doing things, and you have your flow and your way of doing things. I've sent you business, and I've sent other people business. I won't mention their names, but I've sent other people business. So whether it's me, whether it's you, but there are experts that can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes.
Yep.
And now more than ever, with the advent of AI, if you're unsure what to do, it's worth a call.
I got to say something because you nailed it at the beginning. Two things that I wrote down, and then we'll bring it to a close. You said some of these companies are reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, we want your
Listen,
IP."
2 a week for the last 3 months.
But you got to think about this, Shawn. This goes exactly hand in hand with what we're talking about. Why are they doing that? Because they've already put their solution in stores, and within a month or two, what happened? Canceled. Why?
Correct.
Because it was never set up the right way, and it
Correct.
wasn't even that company's fault. It's because they didn't have the right backbone, the right coaching to guide them through
the framework.
Point number two that you have is the questions. What is our playbook? Where every BDC manager, the number one question they should be asking in terms of where the AI is where is the biggest pitfalls in my business, in my department? Like, because that's going to change with every department because of your talent and your
Correct.
skill set of your group. So somebody right now, they're struggling because they can't get anybody to work after 6 p.m. There you go. There's somebody
Boom.
struggling right now because they can't follow up past 28 days. There you go. There's somebody struggling right now because they don't know how to
Correct.
keep up with the marketing expense and they don't really know what actually is working and what's not working. There you go. But then what happens is you only had one issue and you messed around and you called a company that messed
Yeah,
up
and
the
you
whole thing.
changed the whole thing.
See what I
You
mean?
just
It's
changed
like
the whole
the house
thing.
didn't need to be rebuilt. It just needed new
Yeah.
windows.
It's like there's a hole in your wall and you just buy a new house.
There you go. They
It's
just
like, no, just replace the gyprock, man.
there's going to be a part two. We'll do the next one. We're going to pick up and just go all in on not just about AI, but guiding people. I think we go through those questions that they could ask, and it would be great if I know you got a show. Make sure you
Let's
mention the
do that
podcast
quickly.
that you have. But
Let's do that quickly because you know what? If this is going to be the last one for 2025 and you're jumping into this in 26, dude, that's 3-4 months from now. A lot's going to change, and I am here to be of service. I really, truly am. After over 2 decades, I sincerely want to give back.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, Les Brown in the early days, still to this day, but Les Brown really guided me in my mind when I built my company spiritually. Like, okay, Shawn, what do you want to do? Like, you're not going to make $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not about money. And he said something that to this day I say, and I heard this 6 years ago, and it went through me. I aspire to inspire until I expire.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm here to do. I just want to inspire people to know that there's a different way of doing this and not to be scared.
Oh man. Well, here's what we'll
Yeah,
do.
man.
I think what we'll do is we'll go live the next one, so then that way people can actually ask questions
Yeah,
underneath.
let's do
Because
it
I know
live.
when I go live, people will tune in and listen, and we'll stream that on like LinkedIn and Facebook. So we'll
Sure.
set
Or
that
we just
up.
do a master class. Let's invite them
Yeah,
in.
and we'll give back. But before we do, real quick, let everybody know how to connect with you in between that time, because this might be posted before we go live, more than likely.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm constantly active on LinkedIn. If I'm not on a plane traveling all over the place, you can hit me up on LinkedIn, Shawn Armorer. The name's there at the bottom. Visit my website, bdcalchemy.com. Take the time, look at my stuff. I carefully curated my website. I did it on my own, so I'm sorry if there's mistakes, but I like to just be, hands on everything. BDC is not something I do; it's something I am. Right. So look at the Google reviews. I didn't ask anybody. I asked them to leave me a review, but I never asked them the content. And it's consistent. Just go and read that and do your own math. Right.
you didn't
Like I
tell them
don't
what to say, Sean, because
I
you didn't tell. Hey, I heard some
Yeah,
people
I
do
sent
that
them a script.
sometimes,
It's
right?
scripted. I sent them a script. But no, and all jokes aside, hit me up on LinkedIn. I would love to help you. Give me a call. There's no charge. Even if I'm talking to you, I love Durran. There's a lot of other BDC people out there that we're all actually friends. We just came back with Anthony at his
I
show
know.
at the by
Anthony,
appointments only. There
Wendy,
was
shout
my
out to Wendy there as
Shout out to
well.
Wendy. Shout out to Mark McGurran. Shout out to, oh my God, there was just so many people that were there. Stan Shear was there.
Tom
There's just so
Stuker,
many. Yeah, Tom Stuker. Of course, Tom Stuker.
the
But,
Godfather.
I spoke to Tom Stuker for hours afterwards. So if I'm hearing you talk and I'm like, you know what? It's more of a Durran thing. I just want people to win, especially at a BDC level. And it's not about money, it's about helping people. And if I could do that, I will. Give me a shout, hit me up on LinkedIn, go on my website, send me a message. But people know what you're currently doing
Yeah,
is giving you what you currently have. So if you're not happy with that and you're not reaching out, then your failure is now becoming a choice.
that's right.
So we're here to help. We'd love to help. And on that note, Durran, thank you so much for inviting me, man.
Until next time, appreciate you,
Yes,
Sean.
sir.
Be good.
Take care, my man.
All right.
Gratitude. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. It's always great, and I thank you for it. So if you could do me a big favor, fam, if you want more videos like this, please like, subscribe, comment, share this out. And hey, if you want to see something different or if you have some feedback for me, send me a message. Love to hear back from you. But until then, thank you all. Keep winning. Be well.